It's just that what we ordered from INEC is not what we got. Abiayo. That's just it. INEC said they were going to transmit results. We didn't see transmission of results.
Greetings, wonderful people, and welcome to your favorite channel. President Muhammadu Buhari wants Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar to withdraw all cases against Tinubu from the Election Petition Tribunal. According to him, elections have been won and lost, and now it's time for Nigeria to heal and forge ahead. Is this the right thing to do now? Let us know from the comment section. Keep liking, sharing, and commenting on this post. Without wasting much of your time, watch the video for yourself and let us know what you think.
President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday reviewed the 2015 general elections that brought him into office and said the singular act of his predecessor, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, conceding defeat even before the formal announcement of the election result was unprecedented and definitely not Nigerian. Buhari made the assertion at a farewell meeting with his media support group, BMO, Buhari Media Organization, at the State House in Abuja. The statement came as the president was billed to confer on the president-elect Bola Tinubu the country's highest honor of Grand Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, GCFR, during the handing over of transition documents at the State House in Abuja on the 25th of May, 2023, ahead of his inauguration as the 16th president of Nigeria. Speaking at a farewell meeting, Speaking at a farewell meeting with his support group, the president recalled that how elated he felt when his predecessor Jonathan called him at 5:25 that evening to say congratulations. Buhari in shock replied saying, "Pardon me, Mr. President," before Jonathan said yes, he had called to concede and congratulate him. Let's talk about Ayo.
Let's talk about. Okay, so we'll just go straight into this in terms of the statement made. First of all, I must say that before I go into that statement around him conceding defeat was on Nigerian, on possibly and perhaps unprecedented. He was saying this at the farewell veil, as you mentioned, Rufai, of the Buhari Media Organization. And just to speak about them in terms of what he said, because he was saying that equally, what they had done in serving him was on Nigerian, as was, he was making a comparison as what happened with President Goodluck Jonathan. So he had mentioned that they worked without pay, without salary or a formal appointment, in terms of their selfless service to him whilst he was president. For the last 8 years, BMO has been working tirelessly online, responding, laundering the image of the president. So, your guess is as good as mine in terms of how well they do and how well they, how well they discharge their duties according to the president without pay. Now let's go to his statement. I'm going to share perhaps maybe an unpopular opinion this morning in terms of the conceding of the election by President Goodluck Jonathan in 2015, even before the final result was called by INEC. He famously called, as you mentioned, his opponent at the time, President Muhammadu Buhari, and congratulating him, saying that his campaign promise or campaign slogan that no Nigerian blood is worth the ambition of one man was not just rhetoric. He was actually he meant what he said. So he wanted peace, that violence would break out. He didn't want any lives to be lost, properties destroyed because of petition. In fact, in one of the interviews he had granted in 2017, he said that he wanted a Nigeria whereby elections didn't have to be decided by the courts, whereby it would be that you run a process, the winner emerges, and the loser is able to accept the result. Now, the president-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has referred to this act and this comment in speaking to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and Mr. Peter Obi, saying that they should emulate President Goodluck Jonathan by conceding defeat and not making a noise about it or going to court. Herein lies the problem. Whilst President Goodluck Jonathan has been hailed as a statesman, as a man of peace, as a man who's done right, what a number of people have twisted it to be is to demonize the process of justice, whereby if you feel aggrieved by a process, you go to court. It is true that, yes, it will be a lot smoother if we can run elections whereby the contestants are able to accept the results. However, what we should be looking at more should be strengthening institutions such that elections are run in such a transparent and regular way that's not fraught with irregularities, that there would be no need, if possible, to challenge the results in court, because it will be glaring to everyone that it is free, fair, and credible. But in an event where the process hasn't been followed and one ought to be hailed for not challenging the results in court so that you're seen as a statesman, that is not right. It is not nice. It shouldn't be seen as a thing to be praised. It shouldn't be seen as a thing to talk about and say, let's do it this way. Because what we are looking for is that the will of the people is done. And if parties feel aggrieved, what we'll ask them to do is not to make incendiary statements to get their supporters to begin to fight, to act statesmanly, but to still pursue justice in the court of law. The Constitution makes room for that, and it is important for us to highlight that so that we don't say that anyone who does not concede defeat is not a statesman, right? So I just wanted to point that out in terms of the president's.
You know why I said that? Because, you see, it's so easy for President Muhammadu Buhari to say what he said about Goodluck Jonathan. But can he do the same? One man said, the blood of Nigeria is not worth my ambition. Another man said, blood of baboon will flow. We have not forgotten. Dr. Abati, President Buhari was the same man that threatened to take you to court for libel because you spoke the truth in your newspaper article by saying that most of his slogans leading up to the elections were the things that incited mammoth violence after the 2011 election. You did not lie, Dr. Abati. You did not lie in that article. You spoke the truth, but President Muhammadu Buhari thought otherwise, and he threatened you with a libel case. Then, we all remember how that letter was drafted by your own dear Yinka Odumaki of blessed memory. We all remember. We remember. You see, in this country, there are so many things we just choose to forget. It's not because we've forgotten, but just because we want things to lie. So President Muhammadu Buhari is saying that about Goodluck Jonathan. But when he was faced with that situation of election loss, we know what he did. We know the things he said, and we will not forget. Because now we are preaching unity. You see, the bone of contention as regards this election, a lot of people are getting it twisted. It's just that, how can I explain it? Let me explain it in a very simple term. It's just that what we ordered from INEC is not what we got. Abiayo. That's just it. INEC said they were going to transmit results. We didn't see transmission of results. You know when you buy things on social media, what you ordered is different from what you got. What Nigerians ordered from INEC is not what they got. And people have a right. Till today, maybe INEC will say it in the court too. They've not been able to tell us what constitutes the technical glitch that didn't make them transmit results. But they were the ones that said they were going to transmit results. So you don't expect people not to speak up in the case of injustice. And when President Muhammadu Buhari said it is un-Nigerian what Goodluck Jonathan did, no, President Muhammadu Buhari should not insult Nigerians. It is Nigerian what he did. Nigerians concede. Nigerians are peaceful people. Because when he said it's un-Nigerian, what it means is that Nigerians don't concede. Goodluck Jonathan saw that, okay, he had lost and he wanted to move on, and he conceded. So if you cannot do something and somebody else do it and he says un-Nigerian, no, speak for yourself. Don't speak for all of us. It is also Nigerian to be able to challenge election results, like people are doing in courts. And what these people have constantly said is, it is challenging the process. So for me, I think what is un-Nigerian is the fact that the court will rule today as regards, should they even televise the proceedings live of the election? Why should we even have to take a matter to court? Why should INEC be saying they should not even transmit it in the first place, when Nigerians should be able to see what truly happened? So I think those are the things that are un-Nigerian. I think the thing that are un-Nigerian about us is what has happened in the last 8 years, that there were so many promises made, but nothing was achieved. As of today, dollar is 760. When they came in in 2015, dollar was less than 200. I think that is un-Nigerian. I think the fact that the Siemens deal that was promised, that by now should be giving us some thousands of megawatts, have not been done, although they made a statement recently, they said, oh, the materials have been imported into the country just for them to deploy. But the question is, have they met the timeline? I think that's what is un-Nigerian. I think debt is un-Nigerian. The fact that we have humongous debt, 7 billion was the debt when it came in, now it's over 41 billion. I think those are the things that are un-Nigerian. I think the high unemployment rate is what is un-Nigerian. Because Nigeria is not known to have this level of abysmal performance in government. Nigeria is known for a country of excellence. And that's why the new president coming in, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should know that Nigeria needs to be returned to the excellent height of achievements. If he does well, I will be the first to blow his trumpet and support him. And if Bola Tinubu does not do well, I will offer him citizen criticism because I want him to do well. It's nothing personal. I don't make any bones about any politician. All I care about is my country doing well. And I think when our country does not do well, when there's insurgency and banditry everywhere, when people are being killed, 100 people are being killed in less than 48 hours in this country, in ethnic strife, I think those are the things that are un-Nigerian. I think the fighting and the chaos and the insecurity everywhere is un-Nigerian. And we as Nigerians must speak against all the things that are un-Nigerian and bring about the true value of Nigeria, with its excellence, integrity, productivity, good governance, and good leadership. This new administration has a chance to start afresh. I wish Bola Ahmed Tinubu all the best, because if he succeeds, Nigeria succeeds. But if he doesn't do well, he must also be very, very happy to take the criticisms that are needed to wheel the engine of development in Nigeria.
Has returned the compliment by saying that he thinks that President Jonathan conceding in 2015 is unprecedented, is un-Nigerian. Is it an indication that if he had been in a similar situation, he would not have conceded? He would not have picked the phone to congratulate? Well, he didn't go as far as saying that, but we can, maybe stretch it further, because many Nigerians take politics as a do-or-die proposition. The significance of being President Jonathan is the mature statesmanship that he demonstrated in 2015 when he picked up the phone and then called now President Buhari. I was a witness to history. I was part of that entire process. The process of getting the control room to place the call to the president, the deliberations that went into when, that call was made, and then the statement that I, went to my office, put together, showed to the president. In fact, he was sending me back and forth twice because I brought the first draft. He said, no, this is not what I want to say. This is what I want to say. You have not said it. I went back to the office. I brought it. He said, no, put it like this, before we followed up that phone call with a statement. Why do I talk about the significance? Well, that should be a lesson to many people. When we later went to Ghana before we left, at the 47th Assembly of ECOWAS, at the time, John Mahama, President Mahama of Ghana, was chairman of ECOWAS. Idris Udirago was chairman of the ECOWAS Commission. Look at that 47th Assembly of the ECOWAS. President Jonathan was given a standing ovation by all the heads of state and governments of West Africa, because they said, look, indeed, they too made the point that this example is unprecedented. But the significance of President Jonathan is that other leaders across Africa have since then followed this example. The notable person is John Mahama, president of Ghana. When he too lost the election in Ghana to the present president, he openly said, okay, fine, I'm off. The same man is now the presidential choice of his party. He lost in the last election. Now in 2024, he's still going to run again. And these are the lessons that African leaders should go by. And which was why in 2017, when Yahya Jammeh of Gambia was exhibiting do-or-die attitude and he didn't want to leave governance, African leaders, ECOWAS leaders reminded him of the example of Goodluck Jonathan, of the example of John Mahama. So the big lesson here is that, look, politics should not be do or die. And President Jonathan has, been well recognized for this after office. He's a chancellor of a university somewhere in Central Africa. He's the #1 choice for leading election observer missions in many parts of the world. He has been so recognized for his gentlemanliness, for his maturity, for his statesmanship. And I hope that future leaders of Nigeria will learn from that example. And it is also enheartening that the statement that was put out during his tenure, that nobody's ambition is worth the blood of any Nigerian. And those people who are now saying in Nigeria after the general elections of this year that there will be trouble, that there will be no inauguration, that they will cause chaos, that they will pull down the roof, should be properly advised that, look, what goes round comes round. If you want to pull down the country, you'll be punished for it. The second part of the story has to do with the Buhari Media Organization, President Muhammadu Buhari, thanking them for their selfless service, thanking them for what they have done to support him. Yes, every president, will have a media team, both formal and informal. Sometimes the informal people are even more overbearing than the people with formal titles. And I speak in that regard from experience. But in this regard, the Buhari Media Organization, I think it's a good example of civility to bring them together and thank them. The only thing that was missing in President Buhari's address to them is that he did not apologize to some of us who suffered in the hands of the Buhari Media Organization. After all, in 2007 or thereabouts, when he wanted to go into politics, all of us were there. I was one of the persons. We met him somewhere in Maryland, right? And, he said, he would like to be president of Nigeria. But what we have seen is journalists turning against journalists. The last time I met Niyi Akinshiju, who is the chairman of the Buhari Media Organization, it was at the Nigerian Law School during call to bar ceremony. I told him, I said, why are you people abusing me? Why are you attacking me? I've known you for more than 30 years. So the president, the only missing link is that the president should have said, well, he had apologized generally to Nigeria. But that Buhari Media Organization, they also didn't do well by abusing people, going on Twitter, abusing people, turning the same Twitter that the Nigerian government complains about into a weapon of attack. But I understand, the president, thanking those who defended him, and thanking also by extension, President Goodluck Jonathan. And he says that Nigeria is a very lucky country, that Nigeria has many resources, and they were lucky indeed. The other question that the president did not address is, what have we done with those resources? We have mismanaged oil. We have mismanaged agriculture. We have mismanaged everything. What is the problem? What is it that is wrong with us as a country? If indeed this country is so blessed, why are we so blessed? Why are we so cursed? That is for me, the subtext. But in any case, the president has apologized to everybody to say if he has offended anybody, he has apologized, no problem. We look forward to May 29, now that Boss Mustafa has announced the inauguration program, beginning with the conferment on Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the GCFR on May 25, I think, and also on Alhaji Kashim Shettima, the GCON, before the program outlined by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
Hey, Dr. Abati, my great, very, very dear Dr. Abati. A lot of people don't know how dear Dr. Abati is to me because he's a man of history, he's a man in the middle of many things, and Dr. Abati, you deserve many more kisses on your cheeks, honestly.